Greetings, Tezos Nation. I'm Stu from the Tezos Commons. Joining me today is Brian David Marshall, president and publisher at InterPop. For those who might not have heard, InterPop is the digital collectible and experiences brand behind Tezos NFT-powered trading card game Emergents, which will be launching its promo card pack Super Booster launch on August 18th. In addition to learning as much as we can about the Emergents TCG and its impending Super Booster drop, we also have some really exciting prizes on offer today. We'll be giving away Emergents TCG Super Booster Drop whitelist spots, courtesy of our friends at Emergents, to 5 lucky viewers today, as well as one piece of Alternative Earth original artwork. Brian, maybe we could have a look at that.
Sure. So, Emergents is a universe of superheroes. It's based on, we have comic books that support it. And so that means they get drawn. So, if you really want a one-of-one collectible, physical original art is a big thing. I have a lot of it hanging on my wall. So this is an alternate art version of Bantam from an alternate Earth. This is a piece of original artwork drawn by Steve Ellis, who's a well-known comic book artist who does a lot of work in the Emergents universe.
Very cool. We'll also be giving away a Tezos branded Nano Ledger. So if you'd like one of the lucky winners to be you, which you definitely should, keep an ear out for a keyword later on during the stream. And as always, if you have any questions for Brian that you'd like me to ask, please add them in the chat at any time, and we'll get to as many as we can before we wrap up. Hi, Brian. How are things at InterPop HQ?
Things are good. Things are good. We're in an exciting phase of our life here. This has been a while coming. Last week we took our Emergents TCG, which had been in a closed beta, and we took it to public beta, which means anyone can go to emergentstcg.com and download the game, create an account, start playing. We've had thousands and thousands of people create accounts. It's super heartening. You can join the Discord. You can do all this stuff. And then this week, to celebrate the launch of the public beta, we're doing something which we call the Super Booster Drop. And so there's going to be, kind of a drop where people can get these packs. There's a Super Booster pack, there's a rare Super Booster pack, and an epic Super Booster pack. And you can get in those packs variant art versions of the cards in the game that will never be available anywhere else. Right. Wow. This is it. Like if you participate in Super Booster, you sort of you're going to mark yourself as an Emergents TCG OG. That you were here at the beginning, and you've got this really cool art that is just not going to be available anywhere else. We have 50 different pieces of art for the game. We'll also be doing 50 first minted versions. So each of the cards that are in the Super Spec, there'll be one of one, the first minted card for each of those, which is going to be something for someone who likes chasing those kind of things down. That'll be fun. I would love to see if someone could put together a full first minted set of Super Booster. We're going to have avatars that will be exclusive. So in-game avatars that'll be exclusive within the Super Booster. We're going to be giving away NFT comic books in the Super Booster. We've been publishing comics in the Emergents universe for a year now. So we're going to be giving away some of those comics, including some really, really scarce and hard to find comics with covers by some amazing comic book artists, including Bill Sienkiewicz and Amanda Connor and some others. And then on top of that, we also have 28 pieces of original comic book art. So these are full comic book pages or 5 full comic book covers from the Emergents universe, drawn by Scott Collins, who's a renowned comic book artist known for his work at DC, largely working on the Flash universe. Has been a big part of the Emergents universe for us, and we have 28 pieces of original art.
Wow.
That we are going to be inserting as digital NFTs in those packs across all the rarities that you can redeem for this physical one-of-one piece of original comic book art. It's, I think, super cool. And again, my choice of art for my walls is original comic book art whenever possible. And I think it would be something anyone who's a fan of comics, fan of Emergents, looking to support a cool Tezos project, it'll be a pretty nice frameable.
Absolutely. So obviously, like you and I have spoken here on TezTalks before. We've discussed your extensive background in TCGs and comic books in great detail. But for those who might have missed out on that, might not be familiar, can you give us the Reader's Digest version of the journey that led you to launch InterPop and the Emergents TCG here on Tezos?
Took me 18 minutes to describe super boosters, dude. You think I can do anything quickly here? Sure. From the time I was in high school, I've been involved in the comic book industry. Started a comic book company when I was pretty young. The comic book industry led me into a career in games. Was always a pretty avid gamer. Over the course of that game career, did pretty much everything from designing games to running organized play systems for games to running events for games to being an esports commentator on games. And developed a really great network of people who are just, fantastic thought leaders in the gaming space. And, I don't even know how long ago it was at this point, but at some point when I was getting ready to create my next digital trading card game. The idea of building a blockchain trading card game and building a blockchain trading card game on Tezos is something that was presented to me. And while as my initial reaction, I think, is a reaction that a lot of people in the real world have, right? Which is, like a knee-jerk reaction, like, oh, that's bad. I heard terrible things, right? I actually quickly became a convert, right? Like, because I'm a collector, right? You can see, again, original art, books, comics, trading cards, one-of-one versions of Magic cards, Magic original art, comic original art. I love collecting. And as I've gone through life and as I've moved into this digital space more and more, whether it's games or, comic readers or, music, movies, that lack of ownership, that lack of collectability was something that was really missing for me and really diminished my digital experiences, right? Really kept me, I don't like paying money to Hearthstone or Magic Arena for cards that I don't own.
Yeah.
It seems crazy to me. I do it, right? I do it, but I hate it. I feel stupid. And so, the idea of actually being able to own your cards, being able to sell your cards, being able to trade your cards, make some decisions around your comic collection or your card collection or your music collection, just it all made sense to me. And was really this like kind of lightning bolt moment that led to creating InterPop and building this comic universe and building this gaming product.
Okay. So we've seen, like,
was that short enough or
that was great. That was great. It's over the past year or so, we've seen sort of a bevy of sort of Gen 1 blockchain based games launched. Nowhere more so than here on Tezos. And I'm curious, you mentioned making the decision to do this on Tezos. I'm wondering, what can you tell us about the reasons behind that decision and why this was the chain you decided to build on?
Sure. Largely, I think there's really two easy answers there. One is transaction costs, right? And especially at the time that we first started working on this, transaction costs were so high on so many blockchains, and it was just stunning how much more efficient it was to create products on Tezos. And that for us, for what we want to do, for that liquidity that I discussed, right? For the ability for people to trade cards, buy cards, sell cards, do all that stuff, you need that low transaction cost. But more than anything is, we're also thinking about this game having a legacy, right? Being around for a long time. And when you think about a blockchain that is going to survive, that is going to persevere, that is going to go through protocol upgrades without like losing people's information, all this kind of stuff. The future proofness, to make up a word, of Tezos was something that was super appealing to me as someone who is really looking to build something that, people are going to be chasing down comics, first appearance of comic book characters 10 years from now, and people who are going to be trading and selling cards. That future proofness is essential.
Okay. Obviously, the gaming marketplace has become pretty crowded over the past couple of decades. From your perspective, what do you think makes the Emergents TCG stand out from that crowd in the crowded gaming marketplace of
Sure.
2022?
I think the fact that we are providing an alternate model to both, and I'm going to use air quotes here, free to play games, because we know they're not, and blockchain games, right? A lot of blockchain games have been built with a very blockchain audience in mind, and that's great, and that's fantastic within any ecosystem. But we really, again, are aspiring to reach those millions of people who are on the other side of the threshold of coming into blockchain. And so we think that our game harkens back in a lot of ways to anyone who's played Magic, or anyone who's played Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh, or any physical trading card game. I feel like people will understand that in terms of that liquidity. There's no complicated tokenomics. There's no complicated DeFi that you need to learn. It's buy the card, own the card, play the card, sell the card, right? It's a pretty simple formula. But for people who've played Magic, they also understand that when you play Magic or you play Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh or anything, you kind of set up these economies around owning and selling and trading and understanding that a card's going to be good based on new releases. And we think that we can create an environment where players are going to be able to enjoy that kind of economic freedom that supports physical gameplay. So I think what makes us different is we're not going down that free to play route. We're not going down that like tokenomics, DeFi, blockchain route, which I think a lot of games still do, right? Like they're locked. We're taking this, really kind of digital upgrade to an old favorite in terms of like, owning your cards.
Okay. You sort of touched on this a little bit already, but this game, to my mind, seems to be looking to build an interesting bridge between the video game experience and the trading card game experience, which are generally pretty disparate in
Sure.
what you'll be doing when you're playing each of them. Where have you and your team focused your energy in terms of creating an experience that appeals to both communities?
I will say that whenever you're doing a trading card game, there are a lot of challenges in terms of reaching the video game community, right? Because there is a lot of it just doesn't have that same kind of fluid, constant action that you see in a video game, right? Like it's never gonna keep up with a first person shooter. What we've tried to do is really streamline the gameplay, really have come up with some really new, cool resource mechanic that can lead to some really wild game states that are unexpected and constantly changing. We've really tried to streamline it so you take your turn, then I take my turn in this way that isn't reliant on that downtime between two players making decisions and sort of handshaking over it. But there's always a challenge in reaching that video game audience. But I think and we're constantly working on improving the visual fidelity of the game and making it exciting and who doesn't love a bunch of superheroes crashing into each other and knocking themselves silly. So we're having a lot of fun with it, and I think over the next 6 months as we go from this public beta to a more what I would say officially open beta stage, you're going to see a lot more nods in that direction.
Okay. I think it's important to understand that there seems to be like a bigger vision here than just building a good trading card game, where you're also been hard at work fleshing out this comic book universe that sort of serves as the backdrop of characters and themes for the trading card game. What can you tell us about your comic book offerings and how they've informed the Emergents TCG?
Sure. I mean, this is really a transmedia project, right? Like this is something where if you go to interpopcomics.com, we have 5 ongoing comics set in the Emergent superhero universe, done by creators who've worked, New York Times bestselling authors, authors for Marvel and DC Comics, new talent that we've sourced, coming from other parts of publishing and television, artists who've done work for Marvel and DC. So this is I would say a superhero universe. I think is very comparable to what you would see from the big two, as they call it, in terms of quality and fidelity and story and visually. And it's been super fun, right? Like this is a world I originally created, and now have had to like let go of it a little bit, or a lot, to let all these other talented writers and artists play around in my sandbox. And so it's been really cool to see it develop and watch the characters take on a life of their own and take on these aspects. And there's just some amazing stuff out there. We have the 9, which is our team book, Zoe MG, which is our teenage superhero book. We have the Abyss, where if you want like crazy super villains, this is your place to go. The book is phenomenal. We have Rejects, which is a new title that we launched, which is just been Adrian Gutierrez is your favorite new comic book artist, even if you don't know it yet. And the writing team on that is fantastic as well. And then we have Emergents Presents, which is our longest ongoing title. There's going to be, I think, once I hand in this script today, we'll put the finishing touches on issue 11 of that book. And that's a book which introduces new characters all the time. Yeah, it's super fun. And if you love comics, you should definitely check it out. And you can just read the comics for free to check it out. But if you own an NFT comic, you get on the white list for the Super Booster. But you also get to vote on outcomes in the comic. So this is, really, again, and done in a way that is, done in a way that is accessible to people who might not be totally fluent in blockchain yet, right? So, there's, we want people to come in. If they own it, it's really simple. Own an NFT. Here's a vote on this, choose cover art, choose which characters live and die, choose which character comes back in the next issue. It's been super fun and super challenging. And I think a really remarkable job by the comics team, both on a technical level and on an editorial level.
Very cool. We have an audience question that's come through from Dalton, who's just downloaded the game as we've been speaking here.
Awesome.
He would like to know, aside from varied network usage, can you state the unique value proposition here? It's a tough one, right?
Not to be flip, right? I mean, I think value proposition here is that we are going to, we're just looking to create a fun game where you want to own more cards, and that the value of those cards, the desirability of those cards, is going to change like they do in any great game, right? Like in any great physical card game, the value of those cards shifts, right? And so you have this ability to buy and sell those cards based on, your predictions, and the value proposition here is, this is a great game, right? And you're going to want to play it. And the people who are making this game, this is, if you like great card games, if you're a fan of, Magic or Hearthstone, or, we have, Zvi Moshowitz, who is a Magic the Gathering Hall of Famer, a Pro Tour champion, an economist, one of the smartest people I've ever met in my life, who is, our game design lead on the trading card game, and someone I worked with super closely when we built the initial design for this. And then we have Paulo Vitor Damarosa, who is on the super short list of the best Magic players of all time, right? Like it's literally, you just go Kai, John, Paulo. right? And you can argue the order, in whichever way you want. He's a Hall of Famer. He's a world champion. He's a Pro Tour champion. He's just like one of the best players and one of the best strategists and communicators about strategy that's ever played the game. And then Corey Burkhart, who is our senior game designer, who is a Players Tour champion, which is kind of like a fake Pro Tour, but it was the Pro Tour. And is, just doesn't have as long a career as some of the other guys on the team, but is really one of the great minds in trading card games right now. And we're super happy to have the team. And also we have Alan Comer, who's also a Magic the Gathering Hall of Famer, who built the rules engine that this all works on. And he's worked on games like Magic, Pokemon, basically every digital trading card game at some point or another. Feels like at some point Alan Comer and his rules engine rolled through town there. So don't think you can make a great digital trading card game without Alan.
So the Emergents TCG has been in its beta test phase for a while now. You've mentioned the public beta phase is now live.
Right, about a week old,
okay.
A little less.
In that week, what has the response been like from the folks who've had the chance to play the Emergents TCG so far?
We have had, it's been a great response. So we launched, I think, Thursday. Nearly 7,000 players have created accounts and started messing around with the game, which is just more than double our target for that first week. And the feedback from players, we've gotten some great testimonials from players, which I love. I can share some of that with you. We had Ostrongmore said Emergence combines compelling CCG gameplay with a fun comic book heroes theme. The wildcard system makes every game play out differently. So we have a really unique way that people can try to play cards that they can't pay for yet as an attempt to develop resources. With opportunities for thoughtful play right up to the end of the game while still rewarding skillful play. I mean, that really heartens, I love that. And this is something that's really compelling to us. Maybe not as much to everyone who's like hardcore blockchain, but he said, even if you're uninterested in NFTs, and he has no interest in them himself, this player, Emergence is worth playing for the strong gameplay, right? And that's I think points to our core value proposition too.
And you don't need to own anything. You don't need to buy anything to participate in.
Well, you can play right now in the public beta, and there's no purchase necessary. We're gonna have a free set of cards that will be at the foundation of everybody's game experience. Everyone will have this access to this pool of cards. Right now, if you're getting cards in Super Booster, you're going to get exclusive variant versions of those cards that won't be available to other players ever any other way. Plus 10 cards that aren't going to be released for a while in the game, but they will be released through Super Booster as a preview. It's I don't even remember the question at this point. I've lost my
if people are curious and they want to,
they can absolutely just start playing right now. There's no need to make a purchase. Super Booster is going to be super cool if you enjoy the game and you want some really cool art, some really cool avatars, some really cool things that will never be available some other way. Those will be available starting Thursday at emergencetcg.com. All the information is on the webpage there. But you can just start playing right now.
Where they would go if they want to participate in the beta.
I mean, it's super cool. Since we've been talking, as I'm looking at the chat, Dalton has gone from, I didn't realize this game was out yet, downloading the game, starting to play the game, and giving us feedback in the chat here. So it's that simple. They are already playing. I don't know. I'm making any assumptions.
Fair enough. All great stuff so far. I'm excited to learn more. But before you get into the nitty gritty here, we're going to announce the keyword for the giveaway, and we're going to do the world famous TezTalks lightning round. Are you ready for that?
I am ready.
Okay. So just before we get into that, I'll announce today's keyword for the whitelist spots: Alternative Earth original artwork and the Tezos branded nano ledger that we're giving away today. Today's keyword is !Emergence, all lowercase. Enter the keyword !emergence in the live stream chat, and Nightbot will randomly select today's winners, who will announce before the end of the stream. Okay, now, Brian, it is lightning round time.
Oh, no.
Remember, there are no wrong answers, and this is just for fun so our listeners can get to know you a little bit better. Okay. Are you ready?
I am ready.
Number 1, who is your favorite comic book character?
Oh, wow. I'm going to exclude characters I've created just because I don't want to play favorites. But I am going to say my favorite comic book character is easily Spider-Man.
Excellent choice. What's your favorite food?
That is got to be pizza.
Pizza. Cats or dogs?
Small preference for cats. I grew up with dogs, but have had cats for the last 20 odd years and have, so recency bias, cats.
That's fair. Is this real life or are we in a simulation?
So in the Emergents universe, we posit that there are 3 chronarchs who craft all of reality. And that's what I believe. I believe we are living in one of the variant versions of that world. In their world, the Emergents are real superheroes. In our world, we tell stories about the Emergents, but I think the chronarchs are real, and that's the world we live
in. True or false? Money buys happiness.
False, but it can certainly rent it.
Name one thing you absolutely want to do before you die.
Have a 100th birthday.
The last place you traveled was?
Last place I traveled was, I used to do so much traveling, and I do it so rarely now. I was probably Florida to see my family.
Okay. In 5 words or less,
Impossible.
How would your best friend describe you?
What's the profanity level of TezTalks?
Anything goes.
Okay. Lovable asshole.
Okay. And finally, what is your favorite thing to do on a rainy day besides play the Emergents TCG?
I love watching movies. I love watching movies that I've seen a million times before. I love and over the last 2 years in the pandemic have really taken to simul watching films with friends, where we're all in different locations, but then we've just got a group chat or a Discord going. And so that's great, right? Like, I was going to do something today. Let's just watch Let It Ride with Richard Dreyfuss and, talk about it, right? Like some movie that's just like not a A-list movie, but a movie we love. And that makes me super happy.
I saw you tweet about Let It Ride.
Yeah.
And I hadn't thought about that movie in years. Classic.
Yeah, it's a very quotable movie, even if no one knows what the quotes you're giving them.
So, excellent answers. That's the end of the TezTalks lightning round. We can get back into it now. Okay. When we talked a few months ago, I remember you said something to the effect of, I want Emergents to be the reason people get their first Tezos wallet.
Yes.
Can you tell us why that goal was a priority for you and if you think you've been successful in achieving it?
I know we have achieved it. I know that there are people who have come into this ecosystem through our either game offerings or our comic offerings, or even some of the things that we've done, where InterPop, worked with the Gap to create a NFT marketplace for the Gap. And a lot of people got their first NFT and their first Tezos wallet through that experience. But it's just really, again, there's a lot of negativity around the idea of NFTs in gaming, or NFTs in comics, or NFTs in anything, right? Like we've all experienced it. But I would really like there to be more negativity around free-to-play games, right? And paying money for things that you don't own, right? And so it's important to me because I think there's just a better way to do things, right, than what we've currently accepted. Where we I always will talk to people when I'm arguing with them about NFTs, like you do, and I'll say, oh, do you, let's say they're a comic fan. I'm like, oh, do you own any comics on Comixology? And they're like, oh yeah, I do. And I'm like, no, you don't. Right? Like it's like owning a house but not owning the land you're on. Right? Like you have the right to read that comic on their platform. Can you sell it? Can you trade it? Can you, nothing? You can't do anything with it. And honestly, I just think there's a better way. And I think that as we push forward and educate people about the things that the misgivings that people have about NFTs, we're going to see more and more people coming into the space and finding it to be just a more rewarding digital experience. And I really think that, we've gone and created a comic book reader and a comic book marketplace where people, with 30 different comics that we've published over the last year, and now we're going to have a trading card game, and it's a fun experience, and we really want people to feel smart, right? That's I talked about that idea of when you spend money on a free to play game, you feel like a freaking dummy, right? Like you're like, God, I'm supposed to be able to play this for free. All right, click on, the button and pay for some gems or whatever, right? But like, it doesn't feel good. You feel like you've failed. But there's this opportunity to feel smart in this economy, right? And with making smart decisions, the ability to say, oh no, I don't actually want this, and to sell it, and it to me is the future of the way we experience our digital lives.
Absolutely. So we've already mentioned it, but to follow up, the Emergents TCG Super Booster drop for those who would like to feel smart. That's just around the corner here on August 18th. You've told us a little bit already about what players and collectors can expect to see. I guess the question is, why should people be excited about this drop?
This is an opportunity to show you we're here at the beginning, to get some really cool stuff that nobody in the game who comes in after this point will be able to get unless they buy it from you, right? Because you'll have cards and comics and avatars and maybe original artwork, and that you can take to a secondary market like Rareable or Object.com, and you could keep the pieces you want. You can sell the pieces you don't want. You could even sell your physical original artwork there if you don't want it, right? Like you can just sell that NFT. Whoever owns that NFT can redeem the physical art piece. Mm-hmm. I think it's just going to be a great way to show you were here in the beginning, that you have all this cool stuff, and I think it breaks up into something greater than what's the opposite of greater than the sum of its parts? But yeah, you know what I mean.
Less than the sum of its parts.
Yeah.
So obviously we're giving away some whitelist spots for the Super Booster drop here today. For those who do not win a spot here today, how can they participate in this drop?
Sure. So if you want to be on the whitelist, so we're going to do a whitelist sale on the 18th. That's going to be Thursday. And if you own a NFT comic from the Emergent universe, or any of the various promo cards we've published in the build up to this point, then you can you'll be on the whitelist, and you can and you'll be able to buy that day. Otherwise, you'll have to wait till Friday when we open up the sale to the public.
Okay. We have another audience queue here from TezTalks who would like to know, are there any initial prices set on the Epic Super Booster auctions?
I don't know where we ended up on the price for that. We obviously want the initial price to be low enough to get people excited. I think we were we were still, I think we were still tooling around with that a little bit last I checked.
Okay.
So a lot of people working on stuff, and all will be revealed. Just emergentstcg.com will have all the information as we update throughout the week.
Okay. There was something else I wanted to ask about because I thought it was really interesting. Your team has recently conducted a "You Make the Card" contest.
Yes.
That just closed last night. What was the response like from the Emergents TCG community to that contest, and should people expect more things like that to be happening in the space in the future?
Absolutely. So again, I talked about it a little bit with the comic book universe, right? Where we have allowed people to participate in shaping our superhero universe, right? So if you read you look at The Abyss, which is one of our ongoing titles right now. That's a character that came out of Emergents Presents, and every time there's 3 characters that appear in Emergents Presents, we let fans vote on which one they like best and which creative team should come back. And The Abyss every time, right? Like, wow, people love The Abyss. So we're like, oh, it's time to give a new book to someone. Let's start with The Abyss. This is obviously the most popular character from Emergents Presents. And we did something where we went to South by Southwest and we gave people a free NFT comic for The Abyss #0, which collected some of those short stories, and then let those fans vote on which villain from those short stories would become the villain for the first arc of the ongoing title. So, we're constantly doing stuff to engage with fans and to allow them to participate in shaping our narrative, choosing artwork. So there's going to be a lot of stuff as we get further into the life cycle of the trading card game. You will certainly see contests where people can decide which piece of art goes to a card. People will, as a community, vote, but also I think you're going to see more opportunities for people to have individual feedback into creating cards or developing play programs, all sorts of stuff. And we definitely need our players to be excited and engaged with what we're doing for us to be as successful. And we're looking to them constantly for help and feedback.
Very cool stuff. So we're coming up to the end here.
Okay, this went really fast.
It always does. Before we close off, I'll announce the winners of today's Super Booster Drop whitelist spots, the artwork, and the Nano Ledger. Excuse my squinting. The type is very small here. So the whitelist spots have gone to Mark B, 93, KNT Industries, Alex, and TezTalks. The alternative Earth artwork is going to our friend Dalton, whose experience with Emergence has been unfolding before our eyes in the chat here.
Awesome.
And the Tezos branded Nano Ledger is going to Guillaume Rise. Congratulations to all of you. To claim your prizes, just email us at social@tezoscommons.org. We'll request a screenshot to verify that you're the account owner, and then we'll get your prizes over to you as quick as we can.
Yeah, do that quickly. Whitelist spots are, Thursday.
Yeah, we'll get them moving immediately. For those who missed out today, remind you there are awesome giveaways to be found frequently here on the TezTalks live stream. Keep tuning in. If you'd like to get in touch with us, our social media contacts can be found at tezoscommons.org/TezTalks. We'd love to hear from you, good or bad. Brian, thank you so much for joining us today. It's always awesome.
Always great to talk to you, and thank you. I just want to say thank you so much for all your support. You wrote a great article about how to play the game. And, I just want to, if people want to check it out. And,
that's over on Medium.
Yeah.
It's called Enter Emergence. You invited me to participate in the closed beta, which I was really excited to do. I got a chance to play it, and I thoroughly enjoyed playing the game. I will be, as I say in the article, I will be participating in this Super Booster Drop, so I can keep being involved.
Hope you're whitelisted.
I hope I am too.
Hey, thanks, TezTalks, by the way, says owns all the comics and all the cards. That's awesome.
That's
So
very impressive.
we love you. Thanks.
Is there anything else you'd like to mention or get out there before we close off here?
No, I just, I would just say I just really, we're really excited to have this game out in the world. We're really excited to have this game built on Tezos and to have the confidence in the ecosystem that that we're doing things in the right way. And we hope people show up, support the game, play the game. We're pretty easy to find on social media and in Discord, and just tell us what's going on. Tell us what you want to see, what you want to hear, and I think we can have I think this can be, to quote an old movie watched on a rainy day, the start of a beautiful friendship.
Lovely. We're very happy to have you here. It's a interesting case of synergy, and as you say, like we're all very hopeful that it will attract a bunch of new people to the space. So keep going.
Yeah. Let's build that that welcome space for people to come into.
Right on. To everyone out there in Tezos land, thanks for joining us on the TezTalks live stream. I'm Stu from the Tezos Commons, and our awesome guest has been Brian David Marshall, president and publisher at InterPop. Now let's go get some super boosters.
Yeah.